Hi, everybody. We're back from the third budget special meeting for the City Commission Finance Committee, which is everyone. Ended about 7:10, about 2 hours long. It went over all items on the budget that were non-general fund or electric, water, and sewer. First big thing I want to touch is sidewalks and streets. As you all know, the city signed the Bridges of Liberty and Independence to UDP, and they were supposed to get $5 million of a $2 million down payment and $3 million later on. That down payment is currently sitting in a fund alone, not being used. $2 million the city commission voted to put specifically towards streets and other infrastructure projects. They have not touched that yet, and that $2 million could go to fix about 2 miles of road all the way down if they chose to. Or it could go towards sidewalks and sewer replacements and all that other fun stuff that a lot of people don't think of. There's members on the commission who are upset that the city's 1% administration fee is gone. That collected about $300,000 a year. And their big complaint about it was that it was the Charter Commission's fault that it's gone. Well, it wasn't just the Charter Commission. I was on the Charter Commission. I got quite a few complaints from people who were upset that the city pushed that on them, which they were allowed to. Per state law, they are allowed to collect a 1% fee. But then they shuffled it from, I think, as an administrative fee, and then reappropriated it to the sidewalk funds. And before that, there was little sidewalk funding, but very, very little. And now, during this last meeting, they made the comment that they don't have a plan for anything in the future. They didn't say that they were going to continue sidewalks, they said they were going to stop sidewalks, but sidewalks currently aren't happening. Outside of the Community Development Block Grant money, which is about $125,000. They don't go to certain parts of the city. Now, why did I mention that in right behind the $2 million UDP fund? Well, if the city wanted to, City Commission wanted to, they could vote to put that $2 million over multiple years to replace sidewalks throughout the city. They could do that as well. They could put that $2 million for replacing streets that aren't on the docket right now. So currently, Winona and parts of North Johnson, parts of Smith Street, and there's a couple other small projects throughout the city are in the process of being replaced or are budgeted to be replaced in the next few years. They can work on smaller streets that need a lot of help. I know there's a lot out there. I'm not going to start casting names off because everyone will say, well, my street's bad and everyone else's street isn't as bad as mine. But that's what Bay City has, a lot of bad streets right now. So besides that $2 million, the city is also supposed to have about $1 million a year in new money for them because they don't have to pay for the bridges anymore. The other part of the UDP agreement was that the city will no longer be responsible for costs associated with the bridge after the transition period. The transition period was supposed to end in April, but they passed a 30-day resolution extension, so they shouldn't have that anymore. And there's still, in this year's budget, $690,000 approximately in funds directed to Independence and Liberty Bridge. They did not really give a good answer as to why that money was still there, but we were looking at almost $1 million a year freed up, and I could go to sidewalks if the city commission chose to. They have not. It's very naive that we have commissioners who decide that instead of looking at the money that they are not supposed to get, they are looking at why money disappeared, which $300,000 versus $1 million, you can see why there's a difference there. They could make that money up from that if they chose to. The citizens of Bay City voted to approve the charter. In the charter, in my promotion of it, I specifically noted that the 1% administration fee that was currently going towards sidewalks was be gone. And overwhelmingly, the responses I got were positive. They were upset about that fee being levied on them because they didn't get to vote on it because it was an administration fee. They considered it a tax on a tax. Now, the other thing is that fund money would have been cut anyway because this is the final fiscal year that there is approximately 3.7 mils that will be gone from old bonds that have finally paid off. So they wouldn't have been collecting the $300,000 anyway. They'd be collecting probably about 250 tops. So they're already going to lose some money because of that. So it's just it's a non-starter. That $300,000 should be a non-starter for the commission to be able to figure out. Some of the other notes that I have in that, they didn't give an explanation that I heard about why Lafayette Bridge is still in the budget. Lafayette Bridge, if you've been paying attention to the city, was supposed to be replaced starting this year. So it was going to be an 18-month, 2-year project. They had a whole thing about it. They had a meeting talking about traffic disruptions, detours, and all that fun stuff. There was a small issue where the 6th Ward, most of it would be cut off from the voting precinct, and now that's superseded for other reasons, but that also was going to be a problem for the 2020 election. And then MDOT said we're not going to do it because costs exploded and it's no longer a priority for us, which it happens. But the city still has money budgeted in their current book for Lafayette Bridge that was city contribution. As far as I'm aware, the state has not given anything to the city that I have seen for Lafayette Bridge repairs that the city was responsible for, nor is the state looking at replacing parts of Lafayette Bridge at this point that I have seen. With that missing, I don't understand why that money is still in the budget. And at the meeting, it did not seem to come up that just, we have to repair Lafayette Bridge. Okay, Lafayette Bridge. So that's something else that needs to be looked at. In case you've noticed downtown, parking has been a fun topic the past few years. People have said at the parking patrol and how they're functioning and whatnot. Well, the good news is currently they're not enforcing because of lockdown and decrease in traffic downtown. The downtown, I don't know, management board or the downtown authority, they have not collected parking tickets recently. They don't have anyone hired. They're not doing it right now. But there's also because of a lawsuit last year from the city of Saginaw that affected the whole state. It is currently illegal for any authority to chalk tires and give tickets by chalking tires. So enforcement is down anyway. And right now it's not going. So there is a decrease in that part of the budget, which is only like $20,000, I believe, that is no longer being collected because they are no longer working and because it's harder to collect. So that budget may not be there anymore for the most part. And outside of event weekends, Bay City's parking problem downtown, I don't know how much of a problem it actually is. I don't have a business there. When I go there, I usually park out of the way, so it's not really a big problem for me. I'm local, and a lot of people I know are locals, and most people don't see much of a problem most weekends. As we move forward through the budget, the drug enforcement budget, this one was kind of odd. It saw the total revenue and total expenses drop for a fairly significant amount. Those changes were mostly because of a change in the civil forfeiture law. Now, they've changed that because police patrol operations is going to be up about 10%, which more than covers the difference from what that decrease would be in drug enforcement. So, all in all, from what I looked at, what I saw, and I'll post the link to the budget, both city's version and my version, in the description of the video, that they will be able to finally finish more projects because they'll have more money. So more money, more crime stopping, better city. Our crime rates are still down year over year for the most part on pretty much every subject. So all in all, it should be more public safety per problem in the city. Going back to the mills, that it's going to be down about 3.7 mils. Lower taxes. The bonds from the early 90s are finally maturing. The city had some really bad financial decisions back then that are still haunting us. And one of the big kicks is the city has higher taxes. That's going to be going away. And then bonds will be up, which means we need to be on the lookout to see if we want to, if offered, vote a new bond. Now, there is nothing on hand that says that you're going to put a new bond up for any roads, any sewers, or anything. There's nothing there yet. But with that dropping off, that could be a discussion in the future. Now, I also just said that $1 million from bridges per year should be free, and currently it's only about $300,000. But that $300,000 to $1 million a year extra may cover the difference. Plus, without us paying $1 million a year in property taxes to these old bonds, they'll free up some debt service for the city to be able to increase their credit rating. Now, the one thing I did note for Brownfield, which for the most part in Bay City, Brownfield is centered around Uptown because the old concrete pillars, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, it's bothering me. They no longer are going to be, let me rephrase that. The city is on the hook if that development fails. So if tax revenues from that do not cover bond expenses, then the city is on the hook to pick that up. Full faith credit, that's what they call it, full faith credit, excuse me. And that should mean that we'd never have to cover it because taxes from collected are supposed to cover that. But that's a risk we're going to have to take, and that likely will never be as much as these old bonds were. But it's something to look at and make sure that it continues collecting over and above what they need to cover the bond costs. With the volatile bond market, as noted by Mr. Martini, that could mean that we could be in a rough spot right now if they coupon the bond now and we get an awkward interest rate. Only other thing I really have right now is the actually no, I already said that. So guess what, guys, we're done. We'll see what they do with changes to the budget. As I noted last week, the city is expected to get about $200,000 less from the state than they originally anticipated. So we'll see where this goes from here. Have a good night, everybody.